What's going on, everybody? Geek back with, yes, another Outriders video. I'm loving the game. There are a few things that I don't really care for, but overall, if you're playing on X Pass and you're playing it for free, worth it. I paid $60. I did the pre-order. I'm going to be straight up honest. I probably got 100 hours of gameplay. I am loving the game. I need to get with some of my buddies so we can do Expedition because I am playing a main as a Devastator, which is known to be the lowest DPS, probably the most difficult to grind until you get the gear. So I'm going to be doing that here today, doing some expedition runs and stuff, trying to get my gear up so I can have an easier time solo. I would be doing crossplay with my friends, however, even though the patches came out and everything, they are still having some issues. So let me say what I'm talking about by that one, by dragging over their Twitter from today, where they're talking about we are aware. So they made the announcements. PS5 patch went out. The Xbox patch went out this morning. However, they are aware and deeply sorry that some of the users are continuing to encounter inventory wipes. So this is my quick FYI. Please be warned. Yes, you can do crossplay. I expect they're probably going to disable it again. And I wouldn't do crossplay right now because a few streamers and a lot of people that I've talked to and people on Twitter are still reporting that if they do crossplay with somebody else on a different platform from their own, they are having their inventory wiped. One such gentleman named, I'm going to share him out. Hopefully he doesn't get mad at me if he sees this. But, you know, hopefully he doesn't. He's who I've been learning how to get my builds from. Mr. Grampy here. If you haven't followed him, by the way, go give him a shout out. I'll put his link in the description below. He's not asking for this or anything. Go give him a follow. The dude does some amazing stuff, and he does a great job walking people through the technical builds and everything on what he's trying to do. But as you can see this morning, he was doing, I think it was a sponsored stream, and his character was wiped. His inventory was wiped. All the gear gone. And he had some serious gear because he'd spent some time leveling. So be careful if you are going to crossplay with people. Be warned, on other platforms right now their inventory wipe is still going on, even though they've been pushing out the patches. Like the Xbox patch went live this morning. I tweeted out about it and I was like, yes. And then everyone was reporting, don't do it, because there are some issues going along with that. So again you can see here the patch. We're monitoring for performance feedback and following the update. We are deeply aware and sorry that some of the users continually have inventory wipe. I do know they're doing everything on it. They did a great job of explaining it on their patch notes here. If it'll load, come on. Yep. Of what was going on, things are going to be tackling to try and make it better. That said, I think they need to really focus on that. The whole purpose of this video is to talk about the nerfs that they performed, rebalancing. When I honestly, and you guys, maybe you can tell me I'm wrong on this one, I think they need to put the rebalancing and nerfing aside. The game's been out for 10 days. 10 days, the 1st of April, right? There's barely enough time for people to establish a meta. There's 1% of the players out there, the streamers, the elite players and stuff like that have time to invest hundreds of hours into the game. Go grind and have some elite skills. People like Glad and a few others, even like Grampy and stuff. Those guys and gals are a little bit different from the run-of-the-mill everyday player like myself and others, where I might get an hour or two here and an hour or two there and all of this. So it's going to take me a few weeks to get, instead of like, I think Glad was doing tier 15 day 1 or day 2 of the game being out, because he just is a machine that way. And several others like Sweats and all them were doing the same thing. Within a day or two, they were all at that T15 level, CT15. Not me. I think I'm at 7. Okay. So doing something like this where they're rebalancing and making changes to percentages of damages and on twisted rounds and trickster stuff, and pyromancer things where they're cutting it, instead of cutting the percentages in half essentially. I think was very uncalled for and very unneeded. They should not have done it. And if they're going to watch this video, I doubt they are because I'm a nitty-bitty streamer. But if you do like this content, speaking of which, please hit the subscribe and like button. Give me a comment below what you like, what I can improve on, or hit me up on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, sometimes Saturdays. But anyways, we'll come back to this. Instead of cutting that, they needed to leave it alone. People were having fun. One of the things, this game is not a game as a service, right? They've made that very clear for the last year. The game is releasing as is with patches to correct bugs and fix certain things, not to nerf stuff, because people found a way to have a lot of fun and came up with some really creative builds to do a lot of damage. That's the whole purpose. We get through the campaign, 30 to 40 hours of gameplay, and then we get to go do the expeditions. And to be able to solo a CT15 expedition, you have to have a heck of a build and some skills. Not all of us, most of us, I would say 90% of us out there will never be up there on that level that Glad is, or Sweats, or Grampy, or those guys. That's not saying that we're bad. We're just not those guys or gals. It's just not going to happen for us. So people that fly, I say pull the nerfs out, get rid of the nerfs. And you guys started with too much. If you want to leave them, that's fine. Instead of cutting it from 50 to 35, maybe go to 45%. Instead of from 25 to 15, go to 20%. Start with small increments. You're better to aim low on this case and then go too far and just piss off a lot of people. This game, again, you have no foreseeable DLC, so it has to last. $1 for me, a game, as long as I get 1 hour of gameplay per dollar spent on the game, $60. I've got over 60 hours in the game. I'm perfectly fine with my investment. I do know that down the road, a year or two from now, there will be an expansion for it because it's had that much success. Right now, though, forget about the nerfs. Pull back the nerfs, get those out of the game, bring back the experience so people are happy. Maybe raise the Devastator up. Sorry, because that's the weak link right there. Instead of low, and this is another question I'll pose to everyone. We talked about it on my podcast last night, or the Press What to Join podcast with Unforsaken Jay and everything, is when instead of falling in the trap like Destiny 2 does, and I'm throwing shade at D2 right now in Bungie, instead of nerfing weapons that people are loving to use or skills and stuff, look at what's making them use those, why they're enjoying them so much, and take that philosophy and take those kind of mechanics and put them on the other stuff that you want to have used. Because like, if you get in the habit of just nerfing stuff so they don't work anymore, people will get mad and cause either leave the game, stop playing it, and just not enjoy it. I mean, I think Chevy posted on his Twitter or one of his streams, he was talking about the frustrations. And after the stuff happened, it was just more frustrating. So instead of messing with that, look at what you can do to improve the other areas and bring them up. Let people have a choice. One of the things that was great and is still pretty great about Outriders is the fact there's so much loot that drops, all the mods that drop. So you can come up with a ton of different combinations on how to power up your person for your personal play. But there's a plethora, an exceeding number of weapons and armors that you can do and apply and change that will impact how your character performs. Whereas like you look at what Destiny 2 is doing right now, and they're like, oh, we're going to nerf the swords. Okay, so case history, they nerfed Lament, right? Or nerfed Izanagi's, and people stopped using it. They nerfed Tractor Cannon. People stopped using it. I think they nerfed Prospector, and people really stopped using it to an extent. And then you've got things like all of it just goes down the road. And so all of a sudden your meta isn't, oh, I'm going to use a machine. They don't want us to have that much fun. It's too powerful. They want us to use other things. No, the other things don't work. And that's why people aren't using them. You're going to break everything in the game. So now that they're nerfing, Bungie's nerfing Lament, 16% DPS loss. Guillotine is getting nerfed as well. So swords, which were really never used before, they got brought back into the season with some changes to them. Now they're nerfed, and they're going to get stopped getting used again. And rocket launchers, they had Eyes of Tomorrow, which I still don't have, got nerfed, so it's useless. Rockets really don't have a place inside of raids too much because they're not that powerful when they should be. A rocket, hello? It should be a little stronger. Your LMGs or your machine guns really are only good for ad clearing, with the exception of everything. So they're nerfing stuff down. Linear infusions don't do a whole lot of anything. You know, I could go on and on about Bungie on this one, and people are going to throw shade, but I don't care. I don't have anything to use now. They made those changes. And yeah, you're still going to use swords to do certain bosses. It's just going to take you an extra cycle to do it. And people are like, oh, instead of it taking 35 to 40 minutes, now it's going to take me 50 to 60 minutes. So you take the time invested versus the reward. And once you have everything out of it, like I've done the raid, the Deepstone Crypt raid, like, I don't know, 130 some odd times maybe. And all I need is the Eyes of Tomorrow. It's never going to drop. But what's my point in going there unless I'm helping other people, which I don't really do a lot of help streams. I'll help people that stream like Vegeta and CB and a couple others, but yeah, I don't really have a need to go into it except to try to get that. And I don't have to mess with wasting my time because it's the reward on it isn't worth it, especially since armor doesn't drop at appropriate attributes or anything. But instead, going back, let's talk about this. They should have brought the other weapons up because now the meta is going to go back to Anarchy and Divinity and possibly an Izanagi, but somebody's going to be running Divinity and somebody's going to be running Anarchy and somebody's going to be running Izanagi. Or maybe Cloud Strike. I don't know. Cloud Strike's, maybe. But that's what your meta is going to be. They're killing off everything. There's already a limited number of weapons in the game. Why, pray tell, do that? Look at what makes them successful. Look at what those weapons have that make them successful and bring the rest of the weapons up to it. Give people those options. Have the fun factor there. So I'm hoping Outriders doesn't fall into that pit. Instead, what Outriders needs to do, as I said it earlier, pull back, retract the nerfs that they made. Get rid of them. Bring it back to where it was. And focus solely on fixing the bugs that are out there that are plaguing the game right now. The game is fantastic. You get rid of the stability issues, which it looks like they've done a lot of. They need to get the wiping issue fixed and all that. Like where here's some stuff they did. Patch notes. They fixed like the one out yesterday. They were fixing bugs with the GPU. I can tell you, like, no, I'm gonna like watch Glad stream and a few other streams and done some testing. Unless you do some very specific, high end, not so regular user stuff, that gamers are going to do some tuning on your box. And even then, you still will have some frame issues. You will still have the occasional stutter. Okay. Focus on fixing those problems, getting those issues resolved. You have a plethora of stuff that you need to get done. Most of it minute. But fix that instead of worrying about nerfing characters. I would love you guys' feedback in the comments below. What do you think about how game developers approach nerfing a game when it's 1% of the guys that are and gals causing the uproar where it's broken and it's exploiting, it's all this other stuff, when 90% or so of us just are going to play the game and it's going to take us weeks, maybe months, depending on how much time somebody has. A lot of guys I know, they get a couple hours on the Xbox or PC or PS5 a week, and that's it. 2 to 3 hours a week for a 40-hour campaign and then 40 to 50-hour expedition stuff. That's a lot of months to go. The game is a standalone game. So, I mean, why keep nerfing stuff? And if people find something that's fun, let's leave it in the comments. I'll pose the question. Why nerf the fun factor instead of identifying what's making it the fun factor and creating or modifying other weapons to have a similar fun factor to be as useful? And that could be something as simple as raising the damage percentage on that weapon so it does just as much damage. You don't have to change the mechanic. But I do get it. You're going to have a couple percent of the people out there, oh no, I'm getting one-shotted with this, or I'm getting killed with that. If you don't like it, then don't play. That's what I get told. And that's what I was told when I made my rant video about the seasonal triumphs in Gambit. That's just personal preference. My philosophy on this, there's two different problems here, and all hands on deck should be 100% focused on stabilizing the game and getting the enjoyment out there and the crossplay, not nerfing damages. So, Outriders, people can fly, developers, take out the nerfs. fix the game. Focus on fixing the game, nothing else. Then, after all that's said and done, you're going to have a few weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks of gameplay. You can see what the meta is that's been established and where the problem lies. I don't think there's any problem that lies out there. The only problem I see is because it is as is game, the in-game content, it was great in-game content, but you can rip through that if you have just sit down and you play like a lot of the streamers, 10, 15 hours a day. You can rip through that real quick. But most of us, it's going to take us a long time. This is a game that's 40 to 50 or 30 to 40 hours campaign, 50, 60, 70 hours of running expeditions if you're in a team and you got a steady pace, maybe more. And that's it. That's what a game was when I was young and 10 years ago. Standalone game. Boom. If I could get that much time out of it, that was fantastic. Don't worry about it. And then down the road, give us content that makes it more diversified, that gives us better hunts and different things and playability. And you can go after bosses that may have been in the game in the story campaign or something. Gives us more. Tell another story. That's perfectly fine. That's what an expansion is for. Focus on fixing the game right now. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I ranted enough on that one. I am still loving Outriders. I am playing it right now. I'm going to be doing expeditions for a little while. Unfortunately, I'll be playing on PC and I can't play with anybody else until they fix the inventory wipe, because even though I don't have the best inventory for my gear, what I do have, I've been working on getting there. So I don't want to lose it. Anyways, let me know in the comments, are you enjoying Outriders? And more specifically, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Instead of nerfing, do you prefer the nerf to remove the game as something that's powerful? Or do you prefer them taking a look at what's being meta and having them look at the other things in the game, whether it be weapons or armor, that need to be raised up to make them more meta, to bring that fun factor? Anyways, if this was helpful, if you like the videos, please hit the subscribe button, the like button, and give me a comment below. I would greatly appreciate it. And until then, I will see you guys in game. If you need help with Outriders or Destiny or a plethora of other games that I play, such as God Eater series, Code Vein. I'm going to be playing Kenna when it comes out, Scarlet Nexus, several others. I like to play a whole lot of stuff. I do have a video that's going live later on hard drive or motherboards and understanding how to hook up power supplies to them, what all the little pinouts are and everything. Not super detailed, but just the basics. So if you're building a PC, you'll be able to get that. Anyways, until next time, y'all, I will see you in game. Please stay safe out there, and I love you guys.